So, the nurse. The character the behavior tried to make you think was a bright young lady with a tragic backstory that made her turn bad, but it is actually a turd donut with white icing that didn't even have the decency to throw in some sprinkles. Her name was Sally. She was married to this guy Andrew, who was such a giant slab of muscled man meat that you could bounce a dime off his ass, and the dime would launch in orbit before it ever hit the ground. The guy was a lumberjack, so you just know this man was a walking thirst trap. Anyway, he got hit by a tree and died. Sally was pretty bummed out and realized that she actually wasn't prepared to do anything with her life outside of that gorgeous sack of man. So it was way back in the day, and a job popped up for a nurse, and they were like, you literally have no education and no prior job experience. Perfect! And threw her on the night shift. Sally, who has clearly never worked retail, thought this was the worst job ever and spent most of her day trying to shove her head up her own ass so she wouldn't have to interact with other people. In fact, most of her time was spent wallowing in self-pity and wishing someone, anyone, would clean up that stain on the wall as if her hands were made of unicorn hair and stained glass. Really, the closest thing Sally came to doing work was hanging out with the anxious girl and keeping her company. Then this one time she went into a lady's room because she was screaming like she had fire ants crawling up her asshole, and Sally thought, I hate this bitch. Then the lady was like, you know how you literally refuse to clean up a single mess and try to push your work onto the day shift as if they have nothing better to do, and the messes just keep piling up and getting worse and worse because the person that gets paid to take care of all these people is too busy fapping to a photo of her dead husband? Yeah? You know whose fault that is? Everyone in the audience is probably saying something along the lines of Sally, or that creepy guy that likes looking at her boobs, or maybe they have a janitor on the day shift. But the answer this lady gave her really resonated with Sally. It's other people's fault. That was exactly the push Sally said needed to get her head firmly up her own asshole. So she starts walking around looking at these people that she's supposed to be helping out and taking care of like she was the queen queef at the embarrassing badge sounds convention. So she keeps coming back to that lady to see if she has any other nuggets of wisdom that would fit inside her rectal cavity, and she did. Long story short, Sally killed a bitch, and then went around strangling people until the police came and were like, what the actual fuck, ma'am? And took her away in an ambulance. So something happened to the ambulance and she vanished like a fart in the wind, but she has a bag over her head and some wheezy breath, so I have a feeling one of those ambulance drivers owed somebody a solid and said whoopsie daisy and killed her. So yeah, nurse lore. Plain and simple.